Is your husband not getting it when you tell him that sex hurts? Let me help. I'm Pauli, a women's health physical therapist, and this is Beyond the V Women's Health. I am on a mission to shed light on the lack of care, the lack of conversation about these uncomfortable topics, and to create resources for you and provide help. I created this channel because no mom or woman should have to struggle when there are answers. So let me preface all of this by saying your husband is not a bad guy. It is great that he wants to have sex with you. He wants to show you that he loves you, and this is one of the ways that he does it. Think with me for a minute on the other side of it. If every time you verbally said, "I love you, babe," and his genitals started hurting, he kind of starts to get a little frustrated with you every time you kept saying it. But it was such a habit to you because most of us will say, "Oh, I love you," or "I love you." Let's just pretend this is true. But if every time you said that, that was causing him pain, and it never was on purpose that you were doing it, it just was by accident that you were causing him pain, hopefully that kind of gives you a little bit of insight to maybe how that might be feeling with you. Feel free to reference some of my earlier videos on some of these topics if he needs more explanation, or maybe you can just have him watch it. Start by explaining a couple different things. When your vaginal tissue, so I'd walk him through all of the anatomy. So remember, we have the opening, then we have the hallway, and then that opens up into the living room or the pelvic cavity. So remember, the tissues of the hallway are either touching or almost touching. So when he goes to penetrate or even insert his finger, those tissues should part ways to allow that to happen. However, if those muscles are really, really tight, they're not gonna let that happen, and that's where the pain is coming from. Also, I would gently remind him that when you're stressed or nervous or feeling any negative emotion, that's gonna cause those muscles to tighten up even more. So gently remind him and tell him, listen, it's not that I don't want to, I need to have like a positive experience around this. Maybe let's just take sex off the table for a minute and let's kind of go back to the beginning of when we were dating and maybe work your way through some of those steps. The next thing that I would bring up to him is that if he is going to help with stretching, or when you do feel comfortable to start trying again, tell him how many nerves you have at your vaginal opening. Not that that's like anything to brag, but it will tell him that area is very sensitive. So if he is going to help in part of your journey to having pain-free intercourse, remind him how soft and how delicate that he needs to be, and then tell him to dial it back just a little bit more. The last thing that I would tell him to do is to maybe start incorporating some stretching of that internal area in the vagina as part of foreplay. And as always, I recommend at least 20 minutes of physical foreplay to allow your body to really prep and be in the best position for intercourse. So remember, your husband wants to help. He's coming from a good place. He has great intentions. So if you're comfortable with it, let him help you. I hope this was helpful. I am changing the conversation on women's health, and I need your help. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell below so you know when there's new videos. And share these videos with friends or other women that you know will benefit from this information. And for more resources, check the description box below.